Welcome to the Nagual Zone. My name is Anaam. 2 months ago, I made a video called Reincarnation, giving the Toltec perspective on this topic, which someone had requested. In there, a user called Marco F. He asked certain questions that I wanted to address today. He says, "Hello Anaam, thanks for the videos. They help a lot and we enjoy them greatly. I would like to ask you a question that is linked to the topic sex and energy that is spoken of, if I'm not mistaken, in The Inner Fire. How can we have a good sexual life and still be in the warrior's path? Is it possible to keep having an active sexual life and still conserve the energy or gain it? Is it the same for men and women? Would love your advice and opinion on it." Great questions. Okay, let's take them one by one. How can we have a good sexual life and still be in the warrior's path? Now here there's an assumption that somehow a good sexual life or asexual life is somehow not, you have to fit it into the warrior's path, or there's some kind of incompatibility, or there's some kind of, but that doesn't make sense. Does a fox, when the mating season comes, does it ask this question? Does the salmon, when it needs to go spawning, it makes all those jumps and travels all the way up these rivers to the place where it was born to give birth to the eggs? Does it ask this question? So I'll tell you where the problem is. The problem is in this civilization, and I use that word very loosely, the Western Neo-Roman failed attempt at what is called civilization. In other words, the modern world has got so far away from nature and natural processes that it creates these kind of schizophrenic divisions. Now, this is not a commentary on Marco F. themselves. It is commentary on every single one of you. I'll tell you why. So we have a human being of the modern world that thinks that sex is something at its core more than the mating instinct. There's all sorts of philosophies and spiritualizing. You can go to Amazon books and type in the word Tantra. Type that word in and watch what happens. Every kind of nonsense that a human mind can think of about the mating instinct and how to not see it for what it is and to romanticize it and to make it some kind of incredible process of enlightenment. Everything will come up there. All kinds of sham, scam, nonsense will come up. Every kind, every conceivable kind. But you will never find a book that will just say, hey, this is a book on the mating instinct. We all have it. It's fine. If we didn't have it, the species would not grow. Nature has that inbuilt into every body that the spirit inhabits. And this is its workings, and its demands and subscriptions are these. Make of it what you will. You will have one little Netflix episode in the form of a book after another, and endless, like here in Britain we have EastEnders, which is a famous soap opera. You have thousands and millions of titles, of soap opera titles, on something as simple as the mating instinct. So that's the first departure from what is. What is? It's the mating instinct. That's all it is. It's the mating instinct. There's a big problem that happens when there's a departure from what is the mind has no other recourse than to romanticize, manufacture romance. It starts to manufacture fantasies and romance because the awareness is no longer concerned with what is. eventually, naturally, someone will come along and ask this question, because they have two assumptions there. The assumptions are that the warrior's path, that is, as it is referred here, is not natural in some way, or it is something manufactured, or it is not in alignment with nature. And secondly, that the sexual energy that is there within us isn't just a simple mating instinct drive, it is something more. Now it must be either beneficial for me or disadvantageous for me, and now I've got to calculate the odds, and is it good for me, is it bad for me, and now you're in a whole spin. All you did was just get away from what is, and look what happened. Look what happened. In the Toltec warrior's way, everything is included. There are no exclusions. You will never find me saying, no, don't do that. It is against the religious rules. There are no rules. There's only discernment. There's only boundaries, healthy boundaries, and all those kind of things. Basically, which boils down to discernment for your well-being and where you want to go with the life that you have, right? A Toltec warrior, where do they want to go with the life that they have? They want to move towards freedom and ever-increasing impeccability with their time, their energy, and their awareness. Okay, clear so far? So we have a good sexual life and still be in the warrior's path. If that is a question, then both topics have not been understood properly. There is a great confusion about the warrior's path, and there's a great confusion about what is a good sexual life. What is a good sexual life? Never having erectile dysfunction, always getting it up and getting it on whenever you want. Is that a good sexual life? Well, what is a good sexual life? What does that even mean? A good sexual life. Usually for men, you know what a good sexual life means? I'll tell you what it means. Because he goes on to say, is it different for men or women? Absolutely. Now I'll tell you what a good sexual life for men is. That they get to perform like the pornographic actors that they see in these videos, xvideos.com and all these kind of places, right? All these pornographic stars and actors. It's all subconscious. None of you, every single one of you, going to deny this. Every single one of you going to try and pretend to be better, more pure, more spiritual than that. No, you're not. For you, a good sexual life, I'll tell you, is what? That you can just go on, and the woman is screaming in ecstasy, and your ego is getting boosted. What a stud you are! Oh yeah, man, I'm a beast in bed. Yeah, that's the sum total of what a good sexual life really is for every single person that belongs to the average man's club. Women is the same. For them, what is a good sexual life? He loves me. We have regular sex. Oh, it's all tied in with a big involved Netflix episode. Netflix. The more the soap opera attached to the sexual act for the women, the more amazing they feel about it. The more they feel like, yeah, it's a really good sexual life. So these are things you want to give up all this romantic nonsense. Good sexual life is good energy flow. Now, what have I been telling you guys about good energy flow? What is energetics, energy-wise? What is the one thing I've been saying again and again in these videos? Do you remember what it is? High quality energy. You cannot have had sex in a couple for 10 years. Not a single time. Not have had sex at all. However, you can have led a great sexual life because the relationship is based on high quality sexual energy. Think about that. Think about that. What really is a good sexual life? Having sex 2 times a week, 3 times a week, or every day, or whenever you want, in all sorts of odd positions, odd and good and whatever positions that turn you on, or in all sorts of places, in that hotel bathroom or whatever turns you on, whatever. Is that a good sexual? What is a good sexual life? And you will find that that definition has nothing to do with the mating instinct for you. So let's move on. Is it possible to keep having an active sexual life and still conserve the energy or gain it? Good question. Because for the Toltec warrior, energy is the only thing, is the currency of the universe. That's, you're only as wealthy as the amount of energy you have available to you in each day. The amount of energy your body is able to process, the amount of high quality energy. You're only ever as wealthy as that. It has nothing to do with how much money you've got. So for men, you want to create a good sexual life, I'll tell you something right now. You need to do something and learn and train it and get very masterful at it. You need to learn to separate the urge to ejaculate from the feeling of orgasm. I'll say that again. Men, you need to learn to separate the need to ejaculate from the feeling of orgasm. Once you can separate those two, you get control over your urges. Then you can chase orgasm and delay ejaculation because both have been completely separated. They are two different experiences. One is a process, one is an experience. From here on, you can go from one orgasm to the next, to the next, to the next, until the time you feel that you want to ejaculate or not. My benefactors told me to go and train in this, become a master of sexual energy. I said, okay, whatever you say, yes, masa, whatever you say, we do. That's the way I have gained. I have become what I've become by really just, they used to say whatever they used to say to me, and I would unquestioningly get it done. And get it done to an incredibly impeccable degree. Because I'd learned about the value of impeccability. So here I go. I went and started training in the Taoist tradition of sexual energy. Particularly, there's a guy called Mantak Chia, Mantak Chia. His books and the knowledge that he has brought forth, especially his early books, his early work, is tremendous. Very, very good. So basically, the Chinese system of sexuality, which in essence is the Indian Kama Sutra system of sexuality. So I trained in that. I used many tools, many techniques to make myself sexually very strong, very masterful, very... in Hindi there's a word, sthir. Sthir means grounded, like a mountain is grounded, right? Really like... Once you have that energy in your once your sexual energy is that grounded, women will not be able to manipulate you. That's huge in itself for men. And you will be able to eventually free yourself from the demands and subscriptions of the mating instinct. I will make a video on that one day. It's a big topic for the Toltec. For now, you must learn to separate ejaculation with orgasm. Once you do that, try and have 3-4 orgasms in every sexual act. This is for the men. Have 3-4, it's perfectly possible, no problem, before you choose or not to ejaculate. Till the age of 30, you can ejaculate say once a month. After 30 years old, 30 till let's say 50 years old, you should not allow yourself, your semen to come out at least for 3-4 months. After 50 years old, you should become so masterful that you don't need to ejaculate ever again. It's simply there is no need. So keep these time frames in mind. The body ages in a particular way, and these time frames have been tried and tested for thousands of years, and they work. Okay? For men, this is your starting clue. This is the starting point I will give you. Women, you must learn to work with something called the Jade Egg. The Jade Egg. There's a lady whose resource, she's written a book on the Jade Egg. And the resource I will put in the comments, I'll pin the comments. Her name eludes me right now. Her books are the ones I recommend. And you can start working with that. Now, obviously, I don't have much knowledge of that. It is not of my area of interest. So you have to do your own education on that. I cannot give you anything beyond the pointer that Jade Egg techniques are for you. And you must start from there and master the Jade Egg. Master it. There are ways to have sex that are amazing for both parties, that will give you tremendous amounts of energy. And believe me, the average man has no clue what I'm talking about right now. Yeah. So those are for later. These are the starting points. Now, here are the two things that the Toltec warrior, man or woman, doesn't get into when it comes to sex. They are very clear that it is a mating instinct. It is the way the mating instinct fulfills itself. Once that clarity is there on an energetic level, and you're not building romantic desires and fantasies around it, which will inevitably disappoint you given enough time. They will disappoint you if you try and chase those fantasies you've got. Men, you must give up the fantasy that using sex is a way to control the woman better. You must give up this fantasy. Oh yeah, you have it. You have it. Don't pretend to be better than you really are. You have it. You may not know it, but it's right there. Learn to let go of control, domination of any kind, right? And you may think of yourself as this big, short, sexual guy, the ultimate sexual tantra hippie. I respect the Shaktis. Namaste. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Come sit with me for 5 minutes and I'll show you exactly who you are. You see, a real warrior's energy is it's not nice. And the more false you are, the more not nice it becomes. Not because the warrior isn't nice, because that energy and the falseness within you that you spent a lifetime cultivating are not compatible. So, this topic, men, it's rife. I have not yet met one single man who in the topic of sex doesn't think they're a big shot. Or conversely, a negative self-importance, which means they don't feel good enough. They're terrified of women. Oh my God, she hurt me. Just nonsensical. So you must learn to give up. It's a big journey and a long path. It won't come to you easily. There's stuff in you on a genetic level, programming on a genetic level that you'll have to give up. It won't come to you in 1 week, 2 weeks. You're looking at 5-6 years of rigorous training within yourself to free yourself of this urge to dominate and control through sex. Women, you must give up the idea that sex is a way to enhance your fantasies of love, fulfillment. He loves me. I feel so connected with him when we have sex. Oh, yes, yes, yes. There's no way to connect with anyone. The sooner you accept that you are you, you're alone. The only way to connect with anyone the way you want it to is if you literally jump into their skin and become them. It's the only way to really know someone. Otherwise, you better get to know yourself first. And then sex will fall into its proper perspective without the fantasies and the delusions attached with it and the expectations that are put on the other person. So remember, women, you've got to give up this addiction to fantasies. Believe me, no connections are happening. It may look like it, but there's no connections happening. All you're doing is you're giving your power away. That's all you're doing. Men, you must learn to give up your urge to control and dominate through connection. The divine spiritual connection of sex. Wow. Nonsensical. Imagine saying that to a tree, and if a tree could laugh, the tree would laugh. Say, what manner of creatures are these? All they know is self-delusion, and reality just is never good enough for these people. You see? So sex is only enjoyed, really truly enjoyed, when it is just kept clean, simple, and in tune with what is reality. Don't pretend spiritual bullshit when you're doing it. Do the techniques. Mantak Chia has amazing breathing techniques. You can't spiritualize breathing. Breathing is breathing, right? It's happening. You can always, it's evidence in your body in every moment. There are certain breathing techniques that will enhance your energy flow when you're having sex. There are certain techniques of penetration, of such amazing techniques that will create amazing experiences for both parties, right? Those are techniques that give real returns, and you can enjoy sex as long as you like, because they will keep adding energy to you, high quality energy. What I'm cautioning against is this addiction to drunkenness. There's a whole video I could make about sex being used as a tool to for power, to gain this awful kind of power over others. Women do it a lot, to get their way, using sex as a way to get their way, right? That's a whole, that can go on and on, that video. There's so much in that. So you got to stay away from all this nonsense and purify that act so that it works for you, it works for the other person, and you're coming from a sense of training and education instead of hoping and wishing. And all sorts of drunken alcoholic states about sex that is pounded into you from the moment you're born in this modern world. Ads, Disney movies, you name it. By the time you were 5, your mind had become so twisted when it comes to the sexual topic. By the time you were 5 years old, all the ads you saw, all the cartoons, everything. So by the time you hit puberty, you're shafted. You ain't got a clue what's going on. And it takes a lot of time and patience to undo and replace with the correct education, correct training, so that you can actually make good use of this ability. I hope this answers some of your questions, and let me know in the comments what you think about this topic. What is your view? Walk in freedom. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.